Alright, howdy folks. I am going to try something new. I said sometime back, I think it was, that, you know, anybody can draw. Even if your lines are wonky and things just don't look pretty, you can still enjoy this process. And I'm not sure everybody believes me. So I thought to myself, I need to do a drawing with my non-dominant hand, which for me is with my left hand. I am right-handed. But you'll notice I had to move my camera to a different table because if I was to pick up a pen and draw with my right hand, with my left hand, with where my camera is usually set up, you would just see this. See, this is my right hand. And you wouldn't be able to see what I'm doing because my hand would be blocking the camera. So I had to switch my camera over to a different table where I could sit left-handed. And then the other thing I did was I played a little bit. I really have hardly ever, and I can't say never, but I have hardly ever used a pen in my left hand. And I picked up a micron and I practiced with it. And this isn't too bad, but I find that when I draw with my right hand, and you guys have seen lots of my drawings, is I have to hold the micron more vertically, more straight up and down, right? In order to make a mark. With my left hand, since I am not skilled in left hand, I really want to rest my, let me zoom out a little bit. You can't really see what I'm trying to talk about. Oops, wrong way. I really need to rest my pen right here in the crook of my fingers. I feel like I need that support for more control. Normally I would be holding my pen in my right hand. Let's see if I can do this. I'm not sure I can do this, just so you can see. I usually hold it more up and down, more vertical. And I don't put it into the crook of my hand like this. I put it more like this. Well, I don't feel like I have enough control with my left hand to do that. And I discovered with a micron, if my pen is resting up against my fingers like I think I need it in order to have the extra support, the micron doesn't draw anything. See? It makes no mark at all because it needs to be vertical in order for the ink to come out. So I have to switch over to a Sharpie pen, which is different than a Sharpie marker, but the Sharpie pen has more of a felt tip end to it. I don't know if you can see that. Let me get a little closer and see. You can see the nib is different, and it does write. I can't go really tilty. Really tilty still doesn't work. I don't know, you can see that tilt. Let me see if I can get the tilt this way. It doesn't really work really tilty, but it does work at an angle as long as I get up enough. Oops. There. I don't have to be straight up and down. Straight up and down makes a really nice big bold line, but I can be at I can be at a slight angle. So I think this will be better for me to use the Sharpie pen rather than the micron. And I'm also worried that I'm not in control enough with my hand with pressure. And microns are very pressure sensitive, and if you push too hard with a micron, you really make damage to your nib. So I don't want to do that. So I thought I would put this pen in my hand and practice with some lines and see what kind of control I need and how I need to hold the pen and how I can get the best, you know, I clearly am wanting to do it from this side to this side, from closer to me to far away, and from right to left. Usually I do it the other way around. I still do it usually when I'm in my right hand. I draw left to right, and I draw close to far away. I don't usually pull, well, no. Sometimes I pull toward me. I have much more control, that's for darn sure. So I'm just going to practice a little bit with some lines. I'm going to, let's get a new piece of the paper here. I'm going to practice with some circular shapes. See what I can, how much control I can have. I mean, you definitely want to practice if you're going to draw with your non-dominant hand. You definitely want to practice on a scrap piece of paper before you put pen to work. It appears that I can do a circular shape with relative ease. Not near as easy. I have to think about it a lot harder, but I can do it. Okay, so I can make circular shapes, so that's good to know. Can I make an S shape? That's a little more challenging. I can kind of do it, but it's really wonky. Okay, so that's good to know. Can I aura? Once I've put a line down, can I aura it easily? No. Aura-ing seems to be really hard. Whoa. See, I could draw that shape just fine. Let me zoom in a little. Where am I? Okay, I'm right there. Okay, so I want to draw over here? No. Over here? No. No. Wrong direction. Boy, I have to do everything like backwards from what I normally would do. Over here. Oh, look at there. That's where I am. All right, so I can draw this shape, this C, or a round, pretty well, just by itself. But if I want to try to keep a same distance and make an aura, that is really hard. Really hard. If I was do it with my other hand, I can do this, and then I can come back and do this. I have more control. I seem to have more practice. Obviously, I have more practice at keeping an equidistance from a previous line. This, my brain is having a really hard time making my pen do the same line again, even though without doing the same line again, if I would just want to do that line, that seems to be fairly smooth. So I find that very interesting. You know, in my lifetime, I have picked up a pen billions of times. And I have probably picked up a pen in my other hand, I don't know, a couple hundred times. So the difference in muscle memory and practice is huge. So this is going to be similar to somebody who has muscle control issues, or somebody, a learner, a new learner, a person who maybe has had a stroke and has had to learn again how to use their pen, or a kid who's learning excuse me, Zentangling and patterning, and how if I learn this, and I will understand more about how you know, kindergartners and first graders might have issues with certain parts of drawing that I wouldn't think about if I didn't do this practice. Like, I wouldn't think that aura-ing would be that hard. I think making an aura is super easy. But clearly it's not. Not really. It's just that I've had a lot of practice. Let me think about what other shapes I can try. Let me zoom back out a little bit, because I don't like that. Too close. Too close. Okay. bring that over here. I can try teardrop shapes. Let's try a teardrop shape. Okay, I can do that shape, but it really takes a lot of concentration. And doing one next to the other is much harder than just doing one on its own. That's interesting. So it appears that doing shapes on their own are much easier to do than if you try to cluster them and clone that shape. But it is possible. So you look at that. That's possible. I can do that. How about, what are the other shapes that we do? We do rice shapes in Tangle. So let's do a rice shape. That's much more harder. I seem to be fine with making the curve going this way, but a curve going this way is much more difficult for me. This is an interesting exercise. I've never really just sat down and figured out what shapes. I can understand why writing for a left-handed person would be very difficult, because your words have to go left to right, but you want to draw going this way. So I can understand how that would be very, very difficult to learn how to write left-handed and do it clearly and easily. Your muscle wants to go the other way. Let me try letters. And it's possible I can get why does that look backwards in the camera? Well, that's interesting. Is that what always happens? Or is it just because this camera is flipped? Oh, okay. That was weird. Because of the way I have to put the camera on the tripod and put the screen so I can see it, it actually looks backwards to me like a mirror image. It's flipped it because it thinks it's doing like a selfie. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so carry on, Dawn. Forget about that part. Get the letters off of there so they don't confuse me. Let's see. What are the other shapes that we need? I guess that's enough. That's enough to start with. Okay, so I'm going to move on to a tile, and I'm going to give this a go and see if I can make some sort of nice looking drawing using my non-dominant hand. Right? I'm going to do I really needed to go the other way. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to go to here, and I'm going to take this, and can you see what I'm doing? No, I need to go this way. Okay, just so you can see what I'm doing. I come down to here. Yeah, and I need to hold my paper over here so you can see, so I'm not blocking. As normally I hold my paper with my left hand way up here, so I don't have that problem. Okay. So this is the pattern Sanibel. I think you've seen me do it before, but maybe you don't know the pattern. It makes sort of a shell-like shape. That didn't turn out too bad. Okay. Let's do another one in this corner. And this time I'm going to do my lumps going this way where they're more natural. Yep. Okay. So on Sanibel, you draw some bumps like a bush, right? And then you pick a spot to bring your lines to, and then you connect there to there. Connect here to here. And then as you connect, you will create what looks like a seashell type shape. Okay. And remember, I am doing this with my non-dominant hand, the hand that I am not used to drawing with. And I can still do it. It's possible. See? Let's do another one right in here. Let's go, whoops. I'm blocking again with my right hand. I keep forgetting that I'm so used to leaning this other way and making this side clear for you that I'm not used to this part, the camera part. Okay, so we're gonna do some more lumps and bumps. Oops. And I'm telling you it's difficult. I am telling you it's difficult. However, just because something is difficult does not mean it's not possible. Okay, I'm going to go to this spot right there. Decided they all of these little things go to that spot. And here like that. Okay, and then we'll do another one over here. From here to here. I'm going to make something that feels aquatic, like you're under the sea. Let's do that and this. But I can see why people who don't draw often would feel like they can't draw. Because if they're trying to compare this result with my result when I do thousands and thousands of hours of drawing with my right hand, they might feel disappointed in themselves. But look at this awesome drawing I'm doing with a hand that's not used to drawing. I think I'm doing a good job. I think actually I want to add some more in here. I feel like that's kind of floating. Maybe some kind of squirrel down here to anchor. That's not the easiest thing to do, but it can be done. This is the point of this, is to find out if drawing with your non-dominant hand means that you make, and with wiggly, uncontrolled, really lines, because, you know, I'm not in complete control of what's happening with my pen here. At least not the way I think I should be. You can still do it. Okay, that's all right. That looks good. Let's do something kind of organic up here. We just recently did this pattern. I don't remember the name of it. A leaf? Was that the name of it? The one that comes up with like a stem. Ooh, that's quirky. And then has that little C shape. Remember that one? We didn't do it very long ago. And with a little bit of a ruffly thing. Good thing that's supposed to be grupply. And then it comes up to there. I think I'm going to have to do it this direction and hope for the best with meeting it. That's not too bad. Okay, oop, wrong direction. Not too bad. But it is kind of, there's bits and pieces that have issues, but not too bad. And we're gonna make those, see how well I can do with creating those lines. They seem to be not too bad. Whoa. Yeah, that's a bit wonky. But I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. Okay. So, what else can I put into this picture? Another one of these? Maybe. Let's hold my tile so you can see. Go up like that. Like that. I'm gonna fill that one in. I should fill this one in too. Okay, filling in is an issue. Okay, and around. Whoa, that got away from me. Okay. I'm gonna have to practice. I think it would be an interesting experiment for me to practice with my left hand and then redraw this tile again in a couple of months after I spend a long time using my left hand drawing, and just on practice paper, and so you guys don't, you know, have to watch me draw all these ones that have muscle control issues. Maybe I will do that. Maybe I'll practice with this other hand for a while and see what happens if I practice enough, if I can draw this again or something similar. Not the exact tile, you know, you never draw the same thing twice, but if I can draw it again with less muscle issues, if I can be more consistent with my line, if I can I feel like that needs to come up there, even though it's going to be kind of full. Even as I'm drawing now, my lines are getting better. Not great, but better. I'm not too happy with the way these two have overlapped because I've lost the definition between the two, but I can fix that with some shading. Let's put some like fescue up here, right? Give it that. Okay, Need something up here. Maybe bubbles. Shall I try bubbles? Sure, why not? Okay, let's do bubbles starting down here. I like to crowd my bubbles and have them kind of small at the bottom. I'm going to do like floating bubbles. Make them crowded and small down here, and then start making them a little bit bigger as they come out and a little more farther apart. And then as they come up off of the surface, they get bigger and further apart like that. Let's see. Oops, I'm knocking things over. Which direction do I need to go? Okay, and then do that over here. I want some little bubbles. And some that are a little bit bigger. And maybe a bubble here. And a bubble here. What I am finding interesting is that sometimes I don't know if you've noticed, I notice that sometimes when I make circles I don't end in the right spot because I have to think really hard about my pen control. I'm ending in the exact same spot that I started, except for right there. Except for that one. That one got a little goop. But I seem to be better at that part. Even though my bubbles themselves are a little wonky, I seem to be better at stopping and starting in the same place, which I find to be fascinating as well. Okay, that tile's pretty full. Which way do I have to turn it so you guys can see it? This way. And I have to move it that way. Okay, it's weird to be mirror imaged on the screen. I wonder if I can move the screen in such a way so, well, now it's upside down. But closer to me is my side, and closer to you is your side, but it's upside down. Bother. Okay. All right, so now I need to sign it. With my other hand. Okay. And I need to shade. So let's give that a go. For sure right here, right? Because I lost this one on top of that one. I completely lost it. I need to shade right there. And maybe right here where these, boy, shading is going to be interesting here. Seem to have much less control. Maybe a little bit here on this side of this one. And over here, perhaps. Maybe here on the stem. Just trying to decide where I need to put a little bit of shading. For sure here. Boy, I really want to pick up my blending stump in my right hand. Can't do that. Gotta practice with your left hand. This is harder than the drawing part. That's really strange how this is harder the coloring in is harder. But it's good to know, because, you know, if I was to ever, for some unknown reason, be asked to teach somebody who has issues with their, it's good to know what the issues are and how the challenges are, and what to say to make it better or easier for them. It is good to know. It's quite an interesting learning curve here. And I encourage you guys to draw along with me. You know, if you're skilled enough and you want to tackle the non-dominant hand, you know, go for it. I'd really like to see what you guys come up with. If you feel like you're not skilled enough with your dominant hand, you know, most people are right-handed, so if it's with your right hand, if you feel like you haven't really grasped the skills yet, draw this tile along with me with your dominant hand, so that you can see that yes, you too can draw. You know, you can do this. If I can do this with my left hand, you can do this. Put a little bit right here on each of these little bubbles so that they have some shape to them. Especially these ones that are behind. Little tiny bits right there. And here. And here. Oops, wrong direction. It is interesting. Oh, somebody just delivered something to the front door. Well, I will get that in a moment. Okay, so there's that part. Oops, wrong direction. Okay, let's do the shading, because the shading makes it pop. I truly believe that, even though this is, wow, this is really, really hard for me. I'm going to have to practice a lot. I think that it's very interesting, though, that the coloring and the shading seems to be a more difficult task than the drawing was. And I'm wondering if it's because shading for me is the easiest part, that I know that the drawing takes thought, and for me the shading usually doesn't take thought. And I'm wondering if my brain is automatically saying, oh, this is the shading part, you can kind of turn yourself off. You don't have to think so much. And because I'm doing this in my other hand, I really do have to think. And so it's messing with my brain a little. It's entirely possible. I'm trying really hard to keep my hand so you guys can see what I'm doing. Hope I'm doing a good job with that. I can't really look up at the same time I'm doing this, so how's that? Is that better to define those two? I'm not sure it is. I think those two just got too close to each other, and I put too many lines next to each other. You just kind of lost that one little, whatever this thing was called. I've forgotten. It was recent. I think it started with an A. I will have to go back and look, but so far so good, I think. I'm just finding it very interesting how, I had those times when drawing a certain pattern, I was having issues with a particular shape, and I didn't have a problem with drawing that shape individually, but I was having troubles drawing that shape collectively as a group, and I'm feeling that same sort of process happening in my brain. I didn't think that I could feel my brain trying to learn, because so much of what I do is stuff I've learned so long ago. And I know that there are those who, like stroke victims and stuff, that have to learn how to write all over again, and they've lost their ability to speak well as well. So I'm sure that this is similar to what I know it's not exactly, but similar to what they're experiencing, that they can experience how their brain has actually really struggling and trying really hard to figure out how to do something a different way than what it knows how to do all the time. If it's lost that and it has to start over, I can't imagine what this is like for little kids who are learning how to draw. If it's this frustrating for me to do something, I can't even hardly think about what I want to say. It's very interesting that I can actually feel it in my brain. It's not just a thing that's happening in my left hand. It's something that I can feel. My brain is triggering all sorts of activity happening in there. There's stuff it's got to do that it doesn't usually have to do. Usually this is easy. And I'm finding this fascinating as a study in my own self. Really interesting. But it is taking a lot of brain processing power. Tough. Okay, I think that didn't turn out too bad. All things considered. When I first suggested it to myself, I thought, why are you going to do that? Because you can't do that. But I can do that. You can do anything that you really set your mind to do. I just have to remember that this is backwards. So I'm going to zoom way in. I'm going to stick it here, and then I'm going to zoom way in. And you can see it's not even close to being straight. They're very wonky. Which way am I going? It's really weird for it to be backwards. But it can be done. See? So when you say you can't draw a straight line, well, in my left hand I can't draw a straight line either. But I can draw a Zentangle tile. I can look back at it and say, that's pretty darn good. I like that. I can do that. I can appreciate. Is it as good as when I do it with my other hand? Nope. Does it make any difference? Nope. I did it. I'm proud of myself. I did it. I drew with my left hand a pretty darn good Zentangle tile. Is there some things I would do differently? Absolutely. This mess here, I don't mind that this one was behind this one. I think I wouldn't have put these extra lines, and then I would have had a solid one behind a stripy one, and that would have been fine with me. That's the only thing I would do different. But I think I will. I think I will practice. I don't know how long it will take me to practice till I feel comfortable trying to do this tile again, but I will definitely sometime in the future work on trying to do this tile again and practice with my left hand and see what I do. See how much I can grow my skill with practice and time. All right, that was interesting. That took a lot longer than I had anticipated, but you know, I hope you guys have a good day. Be kind to yourself, and if you want, lines are wonky, it's just fine. Look at this. This is fine, and that was wonky lines. See you guys later. Oh golly, now I have to find the switch. Bye-bye.